animation, physics, mixed reality, AI, and more in real time. I'm sure most of you have heard of Unreal Engine and the metaverse. These are very hot topics in the world right now and are just going to get bigger and better. So we are very fortunate to welcome Marc Petit here today to talk more about where this space is going. He's the VP and General Manager of Unreal Engine at Epic Games. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. Bonsoir Montréal, hey everybody. I want to start with a bit of an apology. On the stream, you won't be able to see all the content because we have rights issues, but I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible for you guys online and for the audience here. So welcome, my name is Marc Petit. Work for Epic Games. You know Epic, we have our games. Fortnite, Rocket League, Fall Guys, and then we do the Unreal Engine, which is used by other people to create interactive experiences. So it's my first in-person talks for the past 2 years, so it's the first time I do a presentation out of my PJ, so I'm a little bit rusty. And so bear with me, please. And we'll be talking about real-time 3D and the metaverse and about skills today. So the way we work and communicate actually has changed over the past 200 years, but more recently, digital video has been a massive transformation of work and social interaction. And now we are going through another of those massive transformation disruption with the adoption of real-time 3D, that technology that was developed originally for video games and now impacting many aspects of our lives. So the current platform that we use today all are born out of the commoditization of digital video and digital pictures. And you may not see it, but the same thing is happening right now in front of our eyes with real-time 3D. That technology is being commoditized. You know, in iOS 15, you can take photos into 3D objects. And those platforms that are essentials in our lives that are using digital video are going to be migrating to real-time 3D. What's interesting in the past 2 years is that through that thing, COVID, that we all hate, but it's, you know, one of the side benefits, and it showed us, and it made us live in our flesh, that those digital platforms are so important in our lives, because from one day to the next, all of our family interaction, all of our social interaction, all of our work interaction moved online. And I think it made all of us realize how important those digital platforms are going to be in our lives and the lives of our kids. And I think there's a level of awareness now that's very, very different around those platforms. And I think through that shift to the metaverse, from the Internet 2.0, where with the Internet augmented with real-time 3D, there is an opportunity to transform those platforms and maybe reset the rules of the game in terms of privacy, in terms of safety, in terms of business model. So we're living through a very important time. When the Internet was born, openness was mandated by the US government through DARPA. There is no government mandate around the metaverse. It's our collective and historical responsibility to make sure that the platforms that we create are going to be good for our children. So the question I often get is, why now? Why do you think it's happening now? Because in 2003, we thought Second Life was the metaverse, right? But the why now is we have the conjunction of multiple technologies that are coming to fruition right now and that are being deployed mainstream. Cloud computing, we have GPUs in the cloud. We have 5G network, low latency. I mean, we have line of sight into wireless VR, for example. We're going to get that bandwidth everywhere. Artificial intelligence is something that's super important because machines can make sense of video feeds. Soon, that machine you have in your pocket, your phone, is going to know more about the environment than you, because it's going to be recognizing the 3D environment and it's going to be hooked up to databases. So, and then we have that gaming technology has been developed over the past 30 years. I mean, it's not something from yesterday, right? It's an overnight success, 30 years in the making. Gaming technology, real-time 3D, and finally, we are about to have those devices. I think VR, we should not equate the metaverse to VR, by the way, because VR is by definition something that cuts you from your environment. It's not social, it's not something that's really good. But we're going to get AR, we're going to get all of those wearables, we're going to have all those devices. And we're about to live in a world where every glass panel is potentially a screen connected to the cloud. That windshield in your car is going to display information. When you wake up in the morning in your kitchen, you remember Total Recall, the breakfast scene, you know? You could wake up in your kitchen and decide that you're on Tatooine or on Pandora because your windows in your kitchen are actually screens. So that metaverse is going to be everywhere in our lives. It's not something that's just associated to AR glasses or to VR headset. So something that's very important. And so we believe that real-time 3D is the future. And the reason is there are two aspects to it. One is real-time 3D is the most efficient way that you have today to create 2D content. If you're making animated content, if you're making movies, if you're making advertising, it's now established that real-time 3D is the most efficient, the least expensive way that you can create this content. And I'll show you more about this. And also real-time 3D is that tool that you can create interactive content with. Video games, car configurators, a lot of things. And the two things that you need to remember about real-time 3D is that it enables interactivity. And once you give to kids or to people agency over the content, they won't give it up. They want to interact with it. And the other thing is gaming technology is multi-user and social at the core. And once we have the ability to do everything we do, you know, with a group, a relevant group, with our family, with our friends, with our colleagues, we won't give up on that. So I do believe that when you combine that social aspect and that interactivity, you've got a medium that's potentially more powerful than the digital video that we're currently using today. And that's happening right now. So what I'm going to show you, the other objection I get, but Marc, it looks like cartoons. Have you seen a video game? You know, it's not the world I want to live in. So I want to show you that video, and that one can be shown as well on the stream, which is our demo reel, which exactly show you what is the state of the art of the kind of visual fidelity that people can achieve today with the game engine. So let's roll that tape. So all of that content is generated what we call real time. It takes a few milliseconds to render every frame, and all that content is at least 24 frames per second, is not 120 frames per second for some of it. So that's what game engine can do today, and we are very, very close to deliver on that, you know, which used to be a dream, which is photorealism in real time. I want to show you some numbers around Fortnite because I think we need to understand that those games are becoming more than games. They're becoming platform. They're becoming social environments. During the pandemic, I was living in North Carolina. My 20-year-old son was here in Montreal, and if I FaceTime him, he has nothing to tell to his dad. I can guarantee you, I've tried. You Zoom, you FaceTime, he has nothing to tell me. But if we play Fortnite together, you know, I get to hear about a lot of things because we're playing and we're chatting at the same time. You know, we're talking about all the things we want to talk as a family. And then I see another side of him. I see him as a leader because he has to carry me through, right? Because I'm not very good at those video games. And you know, the kind of numbers that we have, hundreds of millions of people on Fortnite makes like very, very relevant audience. And it's the same for Roblox, it's the same for the other platforms. And then we use those platforms to do more than just video games. We do music. Probably remember that Travis Scott concert was probably the biggest concert ever built in the world with 27 million people sharing the same experience, and it has a positive impact on, the business of Travis Scott, and allowed Travis Scott to connect with his audience and his fans during the pandemic. So we're seeing a broad adoption of this technology in all industries. I started my career here in Montreal in 1989 with a gentleman called Daniel Langlois at Softimage, and Daniel, who was, and is still this visionary. We were doing CG with the early days. It was just like slow. You have no idea. We were working with ILM on Jurassic Park and those things. It was incredible, and he was always there. Said, it's got to be real time. It's got to be faster. And we said, Daniel, yeah, but it will never happen that we do movies in real time. Well, guess what? He was a little bit impatient, but 20 years later, that's what we're doing. And all of the industries that have adopted CG tools like Softimage over the past couple of years switched over to real-time CG and to game engines. And so you're going to find the Unreal Engine in architecture, of course in games, in automotive. In automotive, all the marketing material is done with Unreal Engine, and we're now bringing the engine inside the car. That dashboard, turns the technology of video games and the visual language of video game is the right technology to interface with the complex machine that a car is. So we do what we call HMI, which is human-machine interface. So the dashboard of the new Rivian RT, the dashboard of the new Hummer Electric, this is all running with the game engine. I'll show you more about that. Another video I want to show you is, some people say, it's beautiful what you do, but isn't it inaccessible and crazy difficult to do? And the answer is no. And what I'm going to show you now is our student reel. That means the work that people like you are doing as part of their studies. So let's roll that tape too. Probably noted a few Canadian names, Canadian institutions, Centrenade, and all those guys do an amazing job with the Unreal Engine. So the other thing that's important to understand is that technology is not just about fancy stuff and video games and virtual stuff. It's actually about solving some actual, very complex real-world problems using visualization and simulation. Like we all know construction, whether it's Montreal, the REM project, or the CHUM, we're next to the CHUM, right? So now all those construction companies are actually using this technology to pre-visualize, to simulate the construction process and realize before you start that, oh, by the way, if you do that slab and that wall, the machinery is not going to be able to get out. So there is a lot of applicability of the technology on some very, very practical aspect, and it's a very generic set of tools. For example, let's talk about virtual production, and a good example, back to the pandemic. How do you shoot movies to the pandemic? By definition, to shoot a movie, you take a crew, You take talent and you ship everybody to a location to film a movie. Not possible during the pandemic, so we're creating those spaces. Like think about the gigantic aquarium with LED screen, and we actually bring the location to the talent and to the crew. We do this in Montreal at Mel Studio. They have a state-of-the-art installation with huge amount of LED screen. We did this on The Mandalorian. You probably saw that. So that's a very, very practical example on how we actually bring a lot of solutions to the challenges of the movie industry during the pandemic. And the other challenge that Jon Favreau had on The Mandalorian was that you had to create a TV series, like 8 hours of content for half the price of one movie, right? So you had to do something that's very different, and that's what we did, called virtual production. Same when you do those big projects, you want to make sure that you can convey to all the stakeholders that everybody has the same vision of what the airport is going to be, or what the hospital is going to be, or what the train station is going to be. So all those technologies are actually used, to drive the stakeholders to the same vision of the product. And the complexity of what we can have now is amazing. We have entire cities being modeled in the Unreal Engine. The city of Wellington has what we call a digital twin of their city, and you can basically navigate, just like a video game, in the actual building city of Wellington. And of course, VR is a great solution for those customers for the architecture space, because you immerse yourself into the space and you get that sense of scale. Another example is who knew that we had to shut down stores for weeks on? And I had the industry turn around and starting using our game engine and real-time 3D technology to create those experiences online that would make you as a shopper wanting to buy things. And of course, we live in the area of build to order, so that customization capability that you get with interactivity, is being embraced all over the internet now in the e-commerce. We did a lot of things with Balenciaga. You can do this on the web. You can do the game engine. There is a lot of applicability of that. Same for for automobiles. If you're online, if you go on the website at Audi, BMW, or GM, you'll see a lot of cars on the website, but there's not a single photography. I guarantee you, a lot of that content is actually generated with a game engine technology. We do the car configurator, we do the in-concession VR experience, we do the synthetic photos, the gigantic renderings on the side concession. Now, all of that content is generated from one single model called a digital twin of the car. We build that twin of the car, and now all the marketing deliverables are built out of it. Of course, it's very, very efficient financially, and it gives the purchaser a much better experience. Simulation. Traditionally, a lot of simulation happened. We were helping small companies like Precision OS do a surgical simulator. Actually, you want your surgeon to practice before they get to you, right? You don't want them to go unprepared into the OR. And so gaming technology is being fully embraced in the simulation space, so that you can do those kind of interactive experiences, those kind of rehearsal, develop that muscle memory so that when you're in the OR with a real patient, you actually know what's going to happen, and you are doing, as a surgeon, high quality work. So I'm not going to belabor the point, but the use of real-time technology is actually fundamental. And in the creation process, because we make things in real time, you get more iteration. And you have a content creator, the quality is the number of iteration. If you are stuck waiting for renderings to happen, you're not seeing. You don't know what you're going to get. You're guessing. And with our technology, you take the guess out of the work. So, by now, I hope you agree with me that these are important technologies that, and the other thing is to use the technology, you need new set of skills. This is a study done by Deloitte, about what do you need to do to harness the technology. So you can see that there are new skills that you need, and you don't learn them at school, like curiosity, intuition, creativity, empathy, emotional intelligence. You need those soft skills to create those experiences. And then with this visualization, you have to be able now to identify those unseen problems of opportunity, iterate, learning, and then you need to learn how to use new tools. So one of the things that we try to do is try to make sure that the education system, that you guys can learn about those things, because they are going to be extremely important moving forward. And the other challenge for the education system is things are blurring. When does the playing stop and the learning start, right? when everything becomes interactive and we want to bring interactivity in the classroom, we're going to be in this continuous learning and discovery mode. And we've learned through the pandemic that even the frontier between the home experience and the school experience is blurred. You guys were working from home and doing labs and doing all those things. And finally, with interactive content in everything we do now, we learn as much from the community than we learn from our peers, and we learn from our professors. And we become teachers, which we learn something, we share it with other people. So it's a complete new world, and it's a big challenge for all of us, and for, especially in the educational space, how do we harness those changes, those fundamental changes, but they are here for the better. And the other part is the economics behind it. Right now, if you learn gaming technology, you can work basically everywhere. In architecture, in simulation, in automotive, and you can make a lot of money. The demand for those skills is very, very high. The salaries are very high, and these are pre-pandemic numbers. We haven't redone the study post-pandemic, but we think those numbers have actually increased very significantly. So it's a good investment. Those skills are a good investment to the world of the future. And you can get real good jobs. I mean, see all those logos of companies like Mercedes or Renault or Acom. These are Lego. They are great companies you want to work for. So invest in those skills. And then what's challenging for us working with our partners is there are new functions being created. Actually, to be honest, I've listed a few, like visualization specialists or previous generalists, but we don't know what the jobs of tomorrow are going to be. When all of our customer interaction, when all of our work interaction move to the metaverse because we use that technology, it's hard to guess what kind of professions will exist, what kind of jobs you can apply to. There will be new jobs, I guarantee you. So that's the challenge, how do we create ourselves? I put out this picture of Ross from BMW. He studied gaming technology, went to work for BMW and become a simulation expert. He's the guy running simulations for all the factories. Yeah, a factory to build a car. It's like a gigantic video game. This guy is being very, very successful at BMW. So, big question to you, to us, is how do we prepare for the metaverse? How do we prepare for that extension of the internet where we're going to have those connected real-time 3D experiences? I think I mentioned it as a society, we got to be prepared because those technologies are going to be very meaningful for our lives. So the regulator, the politics have to think about it, even though they don't understand it. It's going to be an interesting challenge. But, and for you and for people entering the workforce, what can you do to get prepared? And the first thing you need to do is playing games. It's a prescription from the doctor. You can go back to your parents and your significance that you have to play games. Because games is what you learn by playing games. You learn collaboration and teamwork and socialization. You learn social connection, open exploration, curiosity. Very important skills. You learn about customization and making things yours, modding, all of those things. And you're likely going to be on Discord or on Twitch and learning from other people or teaching other people. So remember to play games. Very important to get familiar with this technology and all of its aspects. The other part of it is there is a whole set of resources available to you that can help you migrate from being a player to becoming a content creator. And I've listed a few, and they are epic solutions, but there's a lot of other ones. I mean, you can play Roblox, you can play Minecraft, you can play Fortnite. We have technology like Sketchfab, is web-based 3D. You can take your phone, scan an object, stick it up on your social profile in 3D, your room, everything you want to communicate with, tell a little bit of a story with it. Twinmotion is a fantastic product. It's easy to take stuff, kit bash, and create super visualization. You can do it for your house. You can do it for spaces that exist, spaces that don't exist, for objects. You can do synthetic photography with it. And then, of course, if you want to get into the big boys club, the learning curve is a little bit there, but download the Unreal Engine and get to harness the power of that thing, because it's, again, it's a little bit of an investment in time, but I think it's well worth it. And now you have the tool that is used in the industry to create all of that content. So a lot of resources, and by the way, all of those resources are free. Doesn't cost a dime. And the amount of learning resources that are available to you is also immense. We're actually trying to catalog them and make sure that there is a central place you can go and say, where can I have all those resources? And so I strongly encourage you, there's a lot of pathways for you, for your kids, your nephew, your cousins, your sons, to really like embrace this new world. Start with playing and then become a creator. Fortnite Creative is a great, of course, it's what we do at Epic. It's a great place. But I think there's a few things in Fortnite Creative that are pretty unique. First is the fact that, like 16 of us could get together in Fortnite Creative, all of us in a different platform. You're on an Xbox, you're on a PlayStation, I'm on a Nintendo Switch, and together we can build a game. Chatting and build a game, have fun, we build our game. And then we publish our island, just one-click publish, and then we can share it with the world. And a lot of people can play our game. And those people can be on any platform. And that's a pretty unique thing, and that's our vision, for the world, is we want to make sure that those platforms are open. That because you have an iPhone and you have an Android, you can still talk together. We can still play together. We can still create that game together. We can still play that game together. And so we believe that that model, and again, it's not unique to Epic. Companies like Roblox and Minecraft, they do all those things. We expect the new generation, they will want to create their own games. They want to express themselves. And I strongly encourage all of you to give it a spin. Because 1, it's easy, 2, it's free, and 3, it's fun, and 4, it's the future. So, and if you want to rub shoulders with the people who do this for a living, there's an amazing team in Montreal that actually is part of the Epic family called ArtStation. They do this website called ArtStation, where basically people go, it's a resource for artists to make money. This is where you get jobs, you get hired, this is where you put your portfolio. And there is this community going, you can get your work critiqued. So do not hesitate, don't be a stranger. When you start creating content, you can go on ArtStation and basically, publish your content, start interacting with the community, learn from the community. All the ArtStation learning content is free, so there's a lot of resources, and we believe that, again, those skills, this is a great place where, and a really open-minded community, I strongly encourage you guys to go and get there. And again, made in Montreal, ArtStation, quite an amazing community and website. So this is going to be my parting word for today. Remember the question is, how do you get ready for the metaverse? How do you get ready for this world where we have those new interactive 3D experiences? And again, the way you get ready for it is skill up. Learn, never stop learning a lot of things, play games, learn real-time 3D, and this is, I think, the way that you guys can make a difference in the metaverse. And remember how important this is going to be on our life moving forward. So go at it. You can start at unrealengine.com. Thank you.
Do you have a few minutes to take some questions from the audience? Audience, I'm sure you have some questions. I kind of want to change my career at the moment.
You should.
That's what I took away from that. But be sure to just put your questions into Slido if you're watching at home, or if you're here in real life, you can raise your hand and I'll get to you. My first question is about the metaverse, actually. Everyone's talking about this. It's a big buzz thing. But I'm curious, in your opinion, how far away are we actually from getting there? And what kind of short-term strides are going to be taken, and what strides are still going to be a little bit longer term that we still need to figure out before this is actually going to be in our worlds?
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, but first of all, the metaverse is the evolution of the internet. So no company will build the metaverse. We all will build for the metaverse.
Okay.
And the metaverse is already, if you believe that definition that the metaverse is the extension of the internet to real-time 3D and having this social interactive component, well, it's kind of there today. You can play games on the web, there's all kinds of things you can do. And of course, the game companies are the pioneer because they have a 25 years head start in real-time 3D.
Right.
Ubisoft set up home in Montreal in 1993.
Right.
And so we, the games company like Epic or Roblox or Minecraft, or, we have a head start. And now we're seeing the big firms who own the social platform say, hey, I want to embrace this technology. So we don't know who's going to win.
Right.
Remember, for digital video, the broadcaster were doing digital video. They did not invent YouTube and Netflix.
True.
So, having a head start, and we try to be very cognizant of that. And the other aspect, as I mentioned, is, you know, and it was interesting to see Mark Zuckerberg embrace the message of openness. Is you want to move from virtual world to virtual, you know, with your belongings and your identity, and you need something that's truly open. In the past 20 years, the platform based on digital video were not quite open. I mean, it's
Right.
like all-in-one solution, you know, like convenient and benevolent, but closed.
Right.
And we have some very public fight about it, as you know.
Yeah.
So so what aspect of it is going to come first? I mean, the real-time 3D is there today. It can be better. It will be better. But, you know, this open connective world is not there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And for me, the metaverse is not something abstract. It's not just VR glasses. It's going to be in our houses. It's going to be in our cars. And there's going to be the ability to interact with digital content with everything. Again, every glass panel is going to be something you can interact with. And that's probably 3 to 5 years out, not more than this.
Okay. Okay. We have a bunch of questions that just lit up the Slido. The first one is from Mariano, who wanted me to ask you, is this for real or is this just hype?
It's for Unreal.
It's for Unreal. That's a good answer. That's a very good answer.
Look, it's there. I mean, let's not take the word metaverse like it was, you know, this all world in the world, consuming VR that was in Snow Crash, and that's not going to be it. Again, it's going to be an evolution of the internet, but again, that digital content is going to be so present in our lives.
Yeah.
It's a huge business opportunity.
Yes.
And it's and it's going to be a huge impact on our lives. So our citizens, we got to be careful about those platforms.
Okay. I have another question related to that about sort of the diversity of opportunity that you're talking about in content creation. Are there any companies or industries you think should be on high alert of being disrupted and completely taken over by this new technology? Like, should Campus Party be worried? We're going to be on Fortnite and
on the contrary. Well, I mean, yeah, we have to think about Campus Party online, and the metaverse has a better experience than just a video stream. I agree, and allow remote participants to have a better interaction. So I don't think I think everybody can, it's going to be like we see Facebook embracing real-time 3D. We see Apple doing it. They don't just not talk about it. So, I think it's a generational change. So is there going to be a change of the guard? Nobody knows.
Okay, time will tell. We've got a lot of other questions here. I want to get to them all. Anonymous asked, do you think the retail industry will still have a demand for VFX next year onwards when people want to go back outside and in real life?
Well, I think as individuals we'll be much more selective in when we want to spend time outside versus do something online. I think we've learned, we were forced to do everything online, and I think we're starting to develop judgment on, when it's a good investment. It takes an effort. I mean, it took me an effort to be here today.
Right.
I usually don't get out of my house. And, and I think we're going to be much more selective.
Okay.
And so it means that the physical experience are going to have to raise the bar of what they offer to us.
Right.
So that if they want us to, to get outside.
Right, and not just log in. Okay, gotcha. So another anonymous question. Someone asked if you could please explain the business model for someone who wants to create using Unreal Engine. Is this business model going to be here for a long time to come?
Okay.
So I guess maybe this is an entrepreneur who wants to
Yes.
dabble.
So our business model is pretty unique insofar as the tools are free.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we ask for is, this notion that we succeed when people succeed. If they sell some content to the consumer, they owe us a 5% royalty.
Okay.
If you do a game, you sell to the consumer, you owe us 5%, except for the first million. And everything else, like you want to do a movie, you want to do a car configurator, it's free.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you, Anonymous. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Why is it, you seem to be very, very drilling down on everything needing to be free and needing to be open. And I'm just curious why this is so important to you. Is it because this is how it was when the internet was starting and it was supposed to be this open space and now it's become privatized? Or why is this part of your mission? Because
it's such an important part of our lives moving forward, lives of our kids.
Right.
We don't want to be, and also it's, if you make the tools expensive, it will never happen. People will never learn.
Yeah.
It's just going to slow down the adoption of those technologies. So we think by making the tools, some other people are actually monetizing the tools.
Right.
And for me, they're cutting their nose in spite of their face because, you're slowing everything down. You're creating friction. And those platforms will happen. And we need that to be open. I don't think I need to explain why those platforms need to
Yeah.
be open, because we all suffer, from our phone platforms to be closed, those walled gardens. This is not. It has a lot of impact on our lives.
Right.
It's a lot of limitations.
Yeah. Speaking of impact, I have a few questions here about how do you think the metaverse will have an environmental impact? What kind of social impact will it have in terms of the maybe dark side of tech, in terms of misinformation or bullying online? And what is the social impact of the metaverse?
Okay.
Margie asks, there's a lot to talk about, but what are some of the negatives that we have to be aware of?
Okay. First, I'm an optimist.
Optimist,
Okay.
yeah.
So when you listen to my answer, you're listening to the optimist. And for me, I think, I'm an optimist and an introvert. So I think interacting online, there's a lot of things I've accepted about it, and there are a lot of things I can hide when interact online. So I think there is a lot of it changes the playing field, which can be very negative, because you can be your online personality doesn't need to be your real personality. So there's a lot to unpack there about the impact. So social, I think it's I was happy the internet was there, and when we have this sense of presence, if I was able to talk to my mom and really understand, from her facial expression, body language, if she's really doing well or there's some form of distress, it would be better than Zoom or FaceTime. So
Right.
I think that would be a great, but we're not there. This feeling of co-presence and the reading of emotion remotely, that's going to be a very, very good thing.
Yeah,
Impersonating somebody that you are not, very bad thing.
right.
But the ecological, it's COP26, we get asked this question. I think everything I said about digital twin and the optimization of construction process, buildings are the number one source of consuming resources on Earth and producing pollution. All of the work you do, all that design, this augmentation of the design process, real-time 3D technology, all of those digital twins, you will optimize that. You will consume less resources. So I think it goes in the line of the reduction of the climate problem that we have now. We always associate what we do with crypto as it's a footprint problem that needs to be solved. But
Right.
as usual, there are good aspects and not so good aspects. But I think mostly we can make so many more things, and we are making so many more things more efficient.
Right. I'm curious about in trying to keep everything open, but also combat, some of the negative sides of tech. What you think about creating, standards and processes that are shared across different geographies and different zones and different parts of the world, if everyone's going to be sort of in on this space. Have you given any thought about how we're going to build consensus when it's really hard to regulate something like social media?
So, we're very, very actively, investing. We put our money where our mouth is in terms
Yeah.
of open standards like, GLTF, USD, and all those things. So, we are OpenXR. We were invested a lot in making sure that, there is one like you can consume VR with multiple brands of headset. You're not stuck into one environment.
Right.
So we are very invested in that. Some of the other, aspect. It depends on which one you want to talk about, actually. So.
Okay. I have a funny comment from Anonymous. So this is
That
their
anonymous
words, not
guy
mine.
is
But
smartass.
Anonymous says they don't trust Mark Zuckerberg lately. And so they're wondering who else is a good role model that you know for following about entering the metaverse and about participating in the metaverse. Who are some of the people that you look up to in this space?
Well, my boss is an amazing individual, Tim Sweeney. Yeah, and you can see in Tim Sweeney's career, when he started in video games, first video game he made was open, it had modding tools, he published the tools. We're the only company that, we develop the tools to do our own games like Unreal Tournament, like Gears of Wars, like Fortnite, and we make this technology widely available to all of our quote-unquote competitors, because we believe that we succeed when the industry is strong. When the gaming industry is strong, we benefit from it.
Absolutely.
And that's not when you think about it, when I say like this, it's obvious. But, when you're making this in the boardroom, a lot of people don't have that openness. And I think Tim has that vision. And it's not new. It's not something that he started last week because the metaverse became. No, in 1996, these guys predicted that movies would be interactive.
Right.
And we have it's in the newspaper at the time. And at the time, remember, I was at Softima. I was like, this guy is I want to have what he's having. But he was right.
Look, he was right. A visionary.
Yeah.
We have another anonymous question that reads, education inequality is still a reality for the
Yes.
tech and VFX industry. How can one access metaverse if they don't have access to hardware and labs?
Well, that's a very good question because, first of all, I mean, we put out tools like Twinmotion and Sketchfab that run on basically any web platform. And we have this huge investment, and we actually give away a lot of cloud licenses to universities that can run labs. So
Okay.
you can start running things on the cloud. To be honest, it's a little bit still expensive.
Yeah.
But, it's going to be, it's the price of a virtual workstation with GPU is going down, will continue to go down. And I think very, very soon you don't need that expensive computer with that expensive gaming card
Okay.
to develop content. So this is coming. But now, ahead of that, we're making all the content and all the tools free.
Okay.
We support all the education also financially to have those virtual labs and everything. So yes,
Okay.
I think this problem will go away.
Cool. So I have a couple other questions about skills. You mentioned a lot of skills in your presentation, but really what are the top 3 that you look for from a new graduate who wants to enter your industry?
Well, it's creativity, curiosity, and this never stop learning attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of the golden rule that I've seen sort of all of our guests today.
And it's a challenge for our schools because they don't teach that.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your favorite activity to get creative outside of gaming? Say, I'm curious what you do to keep your creative spirit alive.
Well, I mean, it's all about, with my kids, we always try to build up stories and improv, and I'm trying to get them to express themselves. And it can be very simple in the car, try to make up stories. So I think there's a lot of things that, it's actually much simpler than what we usually think.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how to draw. I have zero skill. I'm a computer guy, right? I have this admiration for real artists, but I think, just through words, you can...
Storytelling, fundamental creative
yeah.
thing.
So-
Okay, I have Paco who has a question saying, this is an exciting space for the students, but what if I'm 40 years old and want to switch industries and get into the metaverse? How do I do it?
Well, you download the Unreal Engine, you go to unrealengine.com, you go through our learning management system, and you learn. And you spend your evenings and that, and then if you want to invest in vocational schools, there are some, but and it's you start with Sketchfab. There's
Yeah.
way that you can start and be a little bit entrepreneurial. The demand is phenomenal, and we have a lot of stories about people resetting their careers to do that, and it's and there's multiple aspects to it. Like, I'm a programmer, so I can do blueprints, I can do logic, I cannot do art, but so as a programmer, I could redefine my career. I mean, if I have a little bit of art skills, I can actually do it too, or storytelling, or game design, or economy. I mean, there's, the opportunities are really numerous, and it's good money.
Okay, Paco, you and I, we're switching our careers after this. I have probably time for this one last question, and it's an important one, also from Anonymous, but there is a gender gap in
Yes.
tech, and so I'm curious, what is the mix at Unreal Engine, and how are you improving those numbers, and how are you closing the gap as a company?
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad. In our industry, it's really bad, and I don't know. We're trying to be, to be supportive, but we're not there. We have to make a lot of efforts, but I think, women are very, very creative, but we also know that traditionally the gaming industry, we're not going to lie to ourselves. I mean, it hasn't been a friendly environment for women. So,
Right.
But I think there is so many other industries, like in architecture. I would say that in actual visualization or in product visualization, is a much more friendly environment.
Okay.
I would say, for women. So we have to work on this. It still sucks.
Yeah, okay.
Let's make it suck less.
Work in progress, just like you're working on the metaverse. We're going to close that gap one step at a time. Well, we are literally just out of time at this moment. Please join me in thanking Marc for coming and sharing
Thank
your
you.
amazing insights today. It was really a pleasure to chat with you, and We really appreciated having you.
Thanks. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Marjorie.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Great. Okay, all these anonymous people, we want to meet them, right? They're so smart. Great. So with that is the end of day one of Campus Party. I can't believe we're already at the close of day one. Thank you so much to the audience in the room today for your questions and for your attention. Thank you to our amazing speakers. Thank you so much to our partners, the Government of Canada, Government of Quebec, Ville de Montréal, Service Quebec, Bell, Via Rail, Power Corp, our lovely host, Palais de Congrès. It's so nice to be somewhere in real life. The Blockchain Research Institute, ULISM, Montreal International, and to our community and academic partners. It was such a great first day, and tomorrow we have another huge lineup, so I'm excited to see you at 10 a.m. We have John Mad Dog Hall will be here, Jordan Souls from Rodeo Effects, Don Tapscott, and Anusha Ansari. It's going to be great, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Merci, bonsoir.